It's time to let go of any ideas about imposter syndrome and believing there's any such thing as an inferiority complex because they're completely made up and they're only real if you believe they are. Hi, I'm Catherine Massell, and this is the channel where visionary creators come together to reconnect with their purpose and their genius. And I want to talk today about letting go of the idea of imposter syndrome forever and freeing yourself from anything that smacks of an inferiority complex. And for those of you who are new to my channel, I'm a mentor for visionary entrepreneurs and genius creators, conscious creators. So we use reality a little differently. We use reality like a blank canvas, like an artist uses a blank canvas. And what we can see in our minds, we can shape or mold in our reality. And this takes a great deal of skill. It takes, being very intentional. It takes being very deliberate. And it also takes an identity that allows us to concretize a way of being that is so confident. We're very confident in who we are, no matter what the simulation or the matrix of reality might show us as circumstances or sensory feedback that might say otherwise, or deny what we feel our identity to be. When we're holding on to some idea like imposter syndrome or an inferiority complex, this idea that we're just kind of coasting on good enough, but deep down we really feel the itch to do something more, to be something more, telling us that something's missing. And we feel like we're not allowed to have it or we don't deserve it. It's time to let go of those ideas. They're completely made up. The idea of imposter syndrome is a completely made up concept. And so I want to take you through this here, and I want to create this as a public service announcement so that you can be done with this forever, because I see too many conscious creators, even people who come in to my world and become my clients, who are operating from this idea that not only are their ideas not good enough, or the things that they're creating or have created are not good enough, there's kind of a conflation of identity that they are not good enough based on some exterior concept that someone made up in order to sell a book or courses or something at some point. So I want to help you with this. And I'm going to start by asking you a really powerful question. Okay. So can you accept the possibility that you may not be showing up as powerfully as you could be in your life and in your business because you believe you might be inferior? Not that your work is inferior or a program is inferior or anything like that. You might believe that too, but you're kind of connecting it to an identity where you are inferior. You're an imposter. So let me ask you another question. What if these premises, these ideas didn't actually exist? What if they never did? What if they were never real? Okay. What if these ideas are completely made up? They are. They're completely made up. Okay. This is not to say that someone, maybe even you, can have the experience of feeling like an imposter or feeling inferior. But our experiences and what we feel, our takeaways from our feelings, aren't always being presented as facts. Just because we might feel some way about something doesn't make it the truth, and it doesn't make it a fact. Okay, so let's separate those things right away. It doesn't make it true. Okay, just because we feel something. Is it more likely that you misperceived an experience, or you misconstrued an experience that you had because you compared yourself unfavorably to someone else and you arrived at incorrect conclusions? That's probably more accurately what happened, right? So please understand, you can't have any experience of inferiority or arrive at some sort of self-judgment of being an imposter unless you're being compared to someone, you're comparing yourself to someone or something that you believe is not that. Okay. So if you, in other words, remove the comparison, you don't really have that definition, do you? It'd be impossible to. We often judge ourselves, and we measure our worth, not against our own standards of what is normal, but mostly by what we misconstrue from outside sources and standards of normal that are imposed by other people. And there's really no such thing as a universal standard of normal. There isn't. If you went and looked up the universal standard of normal and you tried to Google it, you'd probably find some very interesting things. And there would be no definitive singular answer because there isn't one. Okay. But at the same time, many of us are convinced that we're not normal because in some or even many ways, we don't measure up to some nebulous universal standard or even someone else's individual standard of normal that doesn't actually exist except as a construct in someone's mind. Okay. So let me break this down even further. I am very, very good at tuning into a client and pinpointing the underlying root causes of whatever problem they're experiencing, whatever reason they come to me for. That's always going to be a symptom. And I'm able to go right to the root cause and see what's going on. I'm very good at that. I'm able to see what's causing people all kinds of mayhem and problems. It's natural to me. Okay. I've been doing it for a long time. But if you ask me to teach a ballet class to professional ballerinas, I'm going to suck at it. I'm going to be terrible at it. Not because I'm an inferior person, but because I'm an inferior dancer and by extension, an inferior dance instructor. Not because I'm an inferior person. Therein lies the problem. The conclusions we've reached and we continue to reach about ourselves regarding our very identity, it's kind of based on things that just aren't natural to us. It's our own responsibility to clear up and clean up and dissolve those things that we connect and those associations that we make because they're not real. They don't represent fact. Okay. Everyone on this planet is good at something, including you. You're very good at something. Everyone on this planet is also inferior at something, even you. Okay. It's where we start to equate identity and our worth with what we simply aren't very good at doing as a level of incapability or a false meaning about who we are being. Somewhere along the line, someone gave this false premise a name, Inferiority Complex, Impostor Syndrome, and said it was real. I don't treat it like it is. Maybe I used to, but I certainly don't anymore. Somewhere at some time, someone came up with the idea that comparing ourselves to others unfavorably created a syndrome of being inauthentic and fake. And we hear that and we're like, yikes, that sounds really hard to heal. That better not be me. Oh my God, I better make sure that's not me. And so we might go the other route. We might go to the extreme and try to make ourselves feel maybe superior in some way. That really doesn't help anything either. And then we have a whole new host of problems to contend with if we do that. So the truth about you is this: you're not inferior. You are not an imposter. You are not superior. You're just you. You are just you. And that is absolutely good enough. That's something you can build on. That's something you can grow. That's something you can adapt. That's something you can even reinvent if you want to. And you, just you, in your snowflake frequency of uniqueness, is not in competition with anyone for anything. Because there is not one person who came before you or will come after you that is just like you. You're not supposed to be. Not like anyone else. It's not that you should be like anyone else. There's no standard of normal or average of greatness. These are all made up concepts and they're fucking with your mind. They're messing with your creations. There's no singular metric for success or achievement. It's all very personal. It's all very individualized. These are all mental constructs. They're all subjective. And they lend themselves to, believing in another false premise, incompetence in being you, as if there could be such a thing. How do you fuck up being you? You can't. You're just you. Are there ways to improve upon being you? Yes. Are there ways to reinvent certain aspects of you that you don't like very much and aren't very wholesome to you and aren't taking you in the direction you want to go? Yes, of course. But there's nothing wrong with you. Not a single person on this planet is better at being you than you. And when you start to resonate with this message, you start to let yourself have some space with this idea that it's absolutely okay to be me. And maybe if I was actually okay with being me, I might start to see all of the things that are great and wonderful and expansive about me instead of seeing myself through a lens of faults, instead of seeing myself through a lens of I'm not very good at, or I'm inferior at certain things. So the only thing really standing between your expansion is you, and certainly false ideas of you. Let them go. Strip away these false perceptions. They're not real. They're not your true self. It's time to really create this kind of unity and coherence between your inner state and outer reality, and understand that there's nothing you need to do for you necessarily to be a better person. Let's let go of that concept and that idea that there can be something better. There's only the version of you that is the identity that matches the desired outcomes you want in your life. Okay? We don't have to get into ideas of bigger or better or bad or worse or good or bad. We don't have to do any of that. Let go of the idea of better. That's another really subjective and kind of nebulous concept that doesn't mean anything, and it's different for every person you ask what is better. It's all very relative. Let go of that. Instead, embrace the idea that if I was a visionary creator of my reality, if I was a conscious creator of my reality, and this was the desired outcome, the preferred experience that I want, what identity would I need to have? What self-concept would I need to be inhabiting in order to have a match with that desired, preferred outer projection of reality and that inner state of the way I feel about myself? That's where the good stuff is. And let everything else go about inferiority complex and imposter syndrome. And anytime you hear it, laugh at it, because that's the only actual response that those kind of terms deserve. So I hope this message finds you well. This message, as with all of my messages, are sponsored by my private membership community, Unity School. Right now, I don't know when you're going to be watching this video, but right now, and through the 30th of November 2024, I have an annual membership sale on joining Unity School. It's a monthly private membership community. It's $100 a month. And right now you can join and get 3 months for free for under $1,000. That's working with me for a full year plus for under $1,000. So if you want to check that out, I have the link in the comments. This expires midnight Eastern time on the 30th of November. So thanks everybody for watching. Go be your badass self, because no one else can do it better than you. Bye-bye.